Today's show is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Your online activity shouldn't be public. Protect yourself at expressvpn.com/inside.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Inside Gaming Daily. For Wednesday, why don't we hump for a bunch of Nintendo accounts getting hacked? That's what you want when your credit card's taken for some doofuses on the internet to just thrust.
Very good.
My stroke is copyrighted, so.
Awesome, yeah. I get to cancel another credit card. Thank you, Nintendo. I'm never giving you any information about myself again.
Yep.
Yeah, we've been hearing about this breach for a while now, but it turns out it's worse than we thought. Almost like twice as bad.
First things first, though, you might want to check your email, because if you've recently gotten one from Nintendo saying that, quote, a new device has been used to sign into this Nintendo account, you might want to pay attention, because you might be one of those unfortunate victims.
Goddamn kids, I told you to leave my account alone!
Especially if that new device is in Italy or some other country you've never been to, because they might have bought a whole bunch of V-Bucks in your name. Sorry.
My V-Bucks have told me that someone's been whistling at them all day. But yeah, Nintendo announced back in April that they had a major account breach. At the time, they said about 160,000 Switch accounts had been affected. And then it turned out, of course, like everyone, they come back a few months later. Oh yeah, it's actually worse. It's twice as big as they first reported, almost, because Nintendo now says the real number, close to 300,000 accounts.
Bit of an oversight there. First things first, here's how you can tell if you are one of the people affected. If you have a Switch and a 3DS, or a Switch and a Wii U, then you're at risk. This breach was apparently targeted at the hardest core Nintendo fanboys. The qualifier is you just have to have 2 accounts.
Right.
Or have used 2 consoles that have online connectivity.
Yeah, if you're a Virtual Boy fan, you're fine.
Yeah, it affected anyone who connected their old Nintendo 3DS or Wii U Nintendo Network ID to their Switch. Nintendo uses a system called Nintendo Account. Clever. But in the past, they let people use existing Nintendo Network IDs to connect those to their new Nintendo account.
Yeah, I think they got rid of the network IDs, but if you still had, you know, a legacy one, I guess you were grandfathered in.
Right.
And they've stopped doing that now. You can't connect with your Nintendo Network ID because that's clearly where some sort of exploit was found, because those old Nintendo Network IDs were the ones that got breached.
And then replaced with the Switch friend codes, which are just a bunch of random numbers assigned because you couldn't possibly use a username.
No.
Nintendo, I love you, but you disappoint me quite regularly.
Nintendo says it's contacting affected users and forcing them to reset their passwords.
At gunpoint.
On their website, Nintendo addressed the issue in a little bit more depth. They wrote that there is no evidence that Nintendo's databases, servers, or services were breached. They also said that no credit card information was compromised. Oh, okay. We're good.
It's all good. Mine is way overdrawn anyway, so do your worst, hackers. Wait a minute, somebody bought something other than alcohol? You've been hacked, Mr. Gore.
Honestly, though, you shouldn't store your credit card information on their servers. Really, ever. Not a great idea. Type it in every time. It takes maybe a couple of minutes at most.
Mine is stored, and I probably won't change that.
And you'll definitely get super mad about everything that happens once it's hacked.
Yeah, it sounds like this might have been a case of intruders gaining access to accounts by reusing passwords that were already compromised, that were already out there on the dark web, as we call it, and not a case of Nintendo itself getting hacked.
Convenient excuse.
But the hackers did get to see a lot of info about people, like their date of birth, country or region, and email addresses. Great. They could also log in and potentially play people's games, as well as access payment services linked to the accounts, including PayPal accounts or credit cards to buy items on Nintendo's platform.
But they could also help me get through really difficult parts in video games.
Exactly.
Potentially.
Hey, I stole $500, but you now beat Tropical Freeze.
Yeah.
I overdrafted your account, but I got you off the Grand Plateau of Breath of the Wild. How did you have 80 hours in that game?
Going forward, Nintendo recommends, obviously, you change your passwords. Also, enable 2-step verification on your account. Always good advice. They wrapped up by saying, we apologize for any inconvenience caused, and we'll continue working to safeguard our platforms and our customers' data. We'll do it badly, but we will continue working at it.
You know what else is inconvenient? Pubes. No one wants to hack through a jungle to get to treasure. What do I look like, Indiana Jones? All right, well, whatever. Today's show is sponsored by Manscaped.
Listen up, fellas, because it's time for a new Manscaped product alert. Manscaped. You know them, you love them. They just dropped the new Weed Whacker, a nose and ear hair trimmer. Do me a favor, pause this video and go take a look in the mirror. What do you see? I mean, aside from the sexy beast looking right back at you, I'm sure you see some hair coming out of your nose and your ears. Well, it's time to clean those puppies up. I'm sure you see tons of ads for Manscaped here on YouTube, but that is because Manscaped is forever changing the grooming game, especially now with their new Weed Whacker. This nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology to prevent nicks, snags, and tears, and just to overall make everything a lot easier and less painful. This premium Manscaped Weed Whacker uses a 9,000 RPM motor-powered 360-degree rotary dual-blade system. It's a lot of words, so you know it's gotta be good. A hell of a lot better than this barbecue grill scraper that I'm holding for some reason. I'm gonna put that down. Its intelligently contoured design enhances the trimming experience, and it's waterproof, making operating it and cleaning it a breeze. And did I mention that it is the only nose and ear hair trimmer on the market with a powerful and rechargeable lithium-ion battery that lasts for up to 90 minutes of use? 90 minutes? Are you kidding me? Can you imagine how much hair you can trim in 90 minutes? I'll race ya. And one thing I appreciate about Manscaped is they're making the whole grooming process something you can look forward to. I mean, right now, we're in quarantine. Most of us don't really care about our appearances, hence why I'm wearing a hat, because my haircuts are so few and far between these days. So Manscaped is making grooming something you can look forward to, and that's pretty cool. And yes, you will be getting a new blade every 3 months to keep your whacking consistent. Not that whacking, the weed whacking. Get your mind out of the gutter. And Manscaped was nice enough to include a little stat here that I can share with you guys. 79% of partners polled admitted that long nose hair is a major turnoff. That's completely preventable. Look, you and I are friends. I feel like we could talk about anything, you know? And I wanted to let you know that I think it's time that you upgrade your Manscaped routine with a new weed whacker. I'm just looking out for you. Our good friends over at manscaped.com is offering our viewers 20% off plus free shipping with the code INSIDE20. So head on over to manscaped.com, enter in the code INSIDE20 for 20% off plus free shipping. It's a great deal. Thank you, Manscaped, for keeping our pubes clean, our noses, our ears, and our hearts. Back to you guys. I gotta go edit this.
Okay, but how did Nintendo massively misjudge how many accounts were breached? Well, on their Japanese site, Nintendo said they discovered the additional hacked accounts after continuing their investigation.
2 Koopa Troopas are hard at work on the case.
Standing on each other's shoulders with a big magnifying glass. I found a clue!
Or they were just trying to downplay it, not to be cynical here, but maybe they were just trying to kind of softball it. They got busted. We're on to you, Nintendo. I know, you try to be all soft and cuddly, but...
Yeah, we started hearing back in April from people who were missing funds from their Nintendo accounts. Over on Reddit, people were sharing their horror stories. One user, TechHead, wrote, "My account was hacked over the weekend. Someone made $500 worth of Fortnite V-Bucks microtransactions using my credit card and PayPal account." Anyway, TechHead said that Nintendo gave them a refund and they advised anyone affected to contact Nintendo for help, or if Nintendo didn't help, to go to one of the payment services like PayPal, see about getting a refund.
And if all else fails, go talk to your bank and sign an affidavit and be like, I didn't buy all those V-Bucks. I have a problem, but not that bad of a problem.
Sadly, this is not the first one of these hacks we've seen in the video game world, like by a long shot, right? Last year, Epic Games, creator of Fortnite, got sued over a data breach that exposed the personal data of millions of players. So
yay.
And then, of course, there was the big one, the infamous 2011 incident where someone hacked the PlayStation Network, putting at risk the personal details of 77 million users. If you lived through that, you definitely remember it. It was huge for a long time. It was the biggest security breach ever to hit the console gaming world. I think that's probably still true. People didn't have access to online services for weeks and weeks. Kind of ruined people's trust in Sony, especially because they waited forever to really tell us how bad the damage was.
Did that coincide with the network outage too? Was that the same deal, or was those two separate things?
I think they were separate, but they were a very similar period of time, because the network outage was over Christmas, I think, wasn't it? But it is weird that we just forget that this even happened, whereas at the time it was such a big deal. Yeah, they apologized publicly and gave away some free games to try and get back on their customers' good side.
Well, that's how I got my copy of Infamous.
And of course, there was the big Equifax data breach in 2017, which compromised all kinds of personal information, including more than 146 million social security numbers.
But yeah, a bunch of lawsuits followed. Equifax behaved really scummily in all of this. They reached a settlement totaling at least $650 million. But yeah, this Nintendo breach doesn't seem to be in the same league as those. But again, good idea to do your own security checks and change your password. Again, this is just your dad checking in.
Yeah, because while they say it's all under control, sometimes these things are worse than they first appear, and a company comes back later and says, whoopsie, it's actually a lot worse than we thought. So, Sorry.
Can you deliver me all bad news I ever get?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Say, like, I get cancer. Can you be the one to tell me and be like, oh, whoopsie. Great.
Sorry. You have a super silly case of cancer.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Inside Gaming. Drama, delays, infighting, and most of all, leaks. These are the biggest things that swirl around the video game industry, and they are also by far the most popular thing to talk about, at least as far as our viewership is concerned. And we've been talking about a lot of these things over the past few weeks. But